This is my 2008 Ford Ranger. I picked it up in 2013. First vehicle I ever bought from a car lot. And I thought a lot about it, and I did a lot of digging around on the internet to find out everything I could about these. And it seemed like a pretty good option for me because, well, I'm an older guy and I'm on a budget. I don't know if I can open this with one hand. I hope I can. Oh yeah, I can. Just takes a little bit of, finesse. There, I did it. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Doing stuff with a camera in your hand is always interesting. That's for darn sure. So, that's the motor. And it's a 2.3 liter inline 4. And when I bought this truck, it had 46,000 K on it in 2013. This one has the 5-speed standard, and other than a little bit of dust in there, which I'll probably make an effort to clean in the spring. You can see I've dinged up the fender on this one. Shit happens. I've got another fender for it, I just haven't put it on yet. But this one has 15-inch rims, and they're 235 75R. These are studded. So we're in the frozen north of Canada here. And the first thing I noticed with this truck, first winter, I was having troubles getting around because it just had the stock diff, what they call the open face or open rear end, I think it's called. And how they work is one wheel spins or the other one does, and they can both turn together as long as you're moving, but as soon as you stop, like when you get stuck, now you're down to one-wheel drive. And it can be very frustrating in a northern climate like this. A lot of people opt for four-wheel drive around here, but four-wheel drive vehicles, well, they just cost more off the top, right up top. You know, they're always at least 30% more, 50% more purchase price. Your fuel costs are always higher because you're turning more hardware. And your repair costs are astronomical. So what I did was I made an appointment at a gear shop and had a, I believe it's called a TrueTrack differential installed, and it's kind of an interesting thing. It's got these worm gears that basically, you know, they're spools with thread on them, and they are engineered so that whichever wheel has the most resistance, that's what side the spool goes to deliver more power to the wheel that has the most traction. That's in a nutshell. There's a really cool video of it on YouTube. And there's a few guys with 4x4s who've added them into their differentials for better traction, and I haven't heard anybody complain about them. I'm actually pretty happy with mine. It's not perfect, but it's kind of like it's like a posi, but I don't think well, the nice thing about them is you don't have to use that hypoid gear additive, you know, to keep them, and they don't require rebuilding. You know, the information I got was that they technically could last forever. You know, as long as you got oil in your diff. And so I haven't had any problems, like nothing serious. I know a few times on really, really icy hills where I had to stop and then get going again. You get this weird kind of clicking sound coming from in there. But as long as nothing goes bang, you know. So anyway, I've got almost 100,000 K on this now. I don't really drive that much, obviously, because it's 2023 now. That was nice of that crow to fly by, eh? Say hello. I fed him a couple times, which was probably a huge mistake, because then he started shitting all over my vehicles. So anyway, we're not really friends, me and that crow. I don't feed him anymore. Anyway, back to the Ranger. I get, if I drive down the highway at highway speed in 5th gear, I've gotten as good as 31 miles per gallon, which is, you know, over 50 kilometers per gallon. You know, for a pickup. But I mean, really, it's kind of like a small car with a really big trunk, you know, which is kind of good for me. Like, I pull a trailer. Here, some of the trailers I pull. You can see I have a collection of trailers. The immediate one is for quads mostly, and that one's for firewood, and that one's for shits and giggles. Actually, I pull that with my Ride-em lawnmower full of kids. My grandkids like it. That's mostly what I use that one for. Anyway, the other thing I did to my Ranger was I had the leaves re-arced and an extra leaf added to the pack, because I think the previous owner had been hauling some fairly heavy loads, and it seemed like, you know, you put 200 pounds in the back and the thing was squatting down, right? So couldn't have that. And I haven't had too much troubles with it, you know. I guess that's my third windshield. I'm on my third windshield. I was going to start this thing for you, but oddly enough, I seem to have misplaced my keys, which is just great. I could have swore I had them. I do. Oh, getting old is terrific. Okay, so I'll start this. I hate trying to make videos when people are walking by because, you know, I mean, I do talk to myself, but impossible to make a video without. So yeah, let's see what we got here. I'm going to turn the lights on to be able to see the, no, it's just too much light and I can't see. Oh, there we go, yeah. 92,000 kilometers. So not even 60,000 miles on this thing yet. I really like it, actually. It's, you know, it would be nice if the cab was just 6 inches longer, just so you could recline the seat and have a nap, but no napping in this thing. Not that way, you know. You have to sit sideways or something, and anyway, but it's actually fun to drive. Like, some people complain about these things and say they're underpowered, but I don't find that. Like, I don't overload it. Even when I'm pulling a trailer, I respect that it's a small, light-duty vehicle, and I want it to last. You know, if I can get 200,000 kilometers on it without any major issues, that would suit me just fine. So I kind of try and baby it. I guess I could shut it off. Well, I could show you a video of the motor running, but you can't even see anything. I mean, But I replaced the exhaust once. What's the problem here? It doesn't like that. Apparently I did it wrong. Oh, I see. Yeah. There. Yeah, it has a few irritating, electrical gadgets. Like, I had the lights on, so that's why that alarm was sounding. And it also will pester you if you don't put on your seatbelt. It's got a light that comes on if your gas cap isn't on properly, which really, I've never seen that before. I've only ever had older vehicles. This is probably the newest vehicle I've ever... Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, it is. And I couldn't... Like, why on earth would you need an indicator to tell you your gas cap isn't on? But I guess something to do with the fuel system and the high-pressure electric fuel pump, because it is fuel injected. They have to be pressurized, so it's a big deal. Who knew? But I haven't had any troubles with that stuff yet. I just stay on top of my oil changes. Every 5,000 K I change the oil. I do it myself, save some money. And there's no greasable joints underneath. They're all, sealed. The ball joints and everything is all, sealed. And I haven't had to replace much down there. There was some damage when I got the fender bender there, and I had to get a wheel alignment and a bit of... I think I had to change a ball joint or something for that. But that's kind of like my own fault. That's nothing you could really blame the vehicle for, right? A few things I've noticed. In the winter, you kind of want to keep the snow off it if you don't have anywhere to park it under cover, because the way the doors line up on the body of the car, they can freeze up with ice pretty good. And usually what I'll do is I'll take a rag and I'll spray it with silicone spray and wipe down the gaskets on the doors. And also wipe down the doors, so they don't have too much material, dust, whatever on them. And that seems to fix most of the door sticking issues, but you have to do it, at least once a year. Twice a year is probably best. I kind of hate to drive this thing on the highway in the winter because they use gravel on the roads for traction, and I have bad luck. It's just, I try not to drive fast, so that means everybody passes you, and then they're shooting rocks at your windshield. So, and I'd prefer not to drive at warp 9 in the winter. It's a great way to wind up in the ditch, but everybody else, they just never slow down no matter what. And quite often I'll drive by them in the ditch, like, sayonara, have a good day. I don't know what it takes to clue people in that you need to slow down in the winter, but you really, really do, and especially in a truck like this. Like, I noticed, I went to the wreckers one time, a couple times, I bought extra rims, and what I noticed was there was quite a few of these all smashed up in the wreckers, and they I think have a tendency to slide off the road. Like, people don't run the proper tires in the winter. I always run studded tires in the winter. As soon as it snows and sticks, I got the studded tires on. The other thing I find a little finicky with this is it's got tire pressure sensors, and so I'm fairly diligent about maintaining my tire pressures, so I don't really need a feature like that, but it's on the vehicle, and and it's just an extra expense, because if you're going to maintain it, well, those sensors, they last 2 or 3 years, and then you got to replace them, and they're about $60 each, and then the tire has to come off to install them. So it's I have a complete set of summers and winters and a couple of spares too, so I don't really need them. I've got a compressor, and I know how to use an air chuck, so it's not a big issue.